Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice's son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Friday the 13th, which is lucky for you because we're back. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is still Non-Censored. Hello and welcome back to the first Non-Censored of 2023. We're back with more highlights from my very, very real daily radio show, and I'm joined as ever by producer Martin. Did you have a good Christmas, Martin?
Oh, well, yeah, Christmas time. It was actually quite stressful in places, to be honest.
Right, well, that's odd, because Jonathan and I visited you on Boxing Day and you seemed fine.
Still, it was nice to get a break from work, you know, a little break from work.
Yes, we all need a break once in a while. I mean, I certainly did. And we've had our first full week back on air, and we've had loads of great items and guests. But as ever, there was stuff we just didn't have time to include in this Highlights podcast.
Yes, I mean, for one thing, all the legally mandated corrections to some of the things you said last year that we had to read out. We didn't have time for those here.
Yes, that was boring. Ugh, cut them out. We also didn't have time for our regular men's self-help segment.
Yeah, that's actually cancelled until further notice.
What?
Yeah, the presenter has some legal trouble in Romania. So we just need to wait and see what actually happens with that.
Oh, that's a shame. He seems like such a nice man. But one thing that's new for 2023 is we want to hear more from you, the listener. So if you have a question for me and can't get through to the daily phone, in which is, as I said, very real, you can now email us a voice note at noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. That's noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be trying to do one question time podcast a month, so get emailing.
Actually, we legally can't call it that, but...
Anyway, our first item this week is with suspended Conservative MP Andrew Bridgen. Absolutely wonderful that he came on the show. I don't think he's done that anywhere else, so let's have a listen. Andrew, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. I mean, first interview from you, I think, since
Yes.
your suspension.
Yes.
And I want to start by saying, really, why are you being silenced by your own party?
Well, I don't know, really. I mean, quite frankly, I am actually confused. I don't know whether it's because of the lobbying thing that got me suspended from Parliament on Tuesday or the vaccine thing that got the Conservative whip. I mean, I'm literally confused. I don't know which one we're talking about today. Which one is it? Is it the fact that I broke the lobbying rules, or is it the vaccine thing?
Oh, I mean, all I'm hearing really is that you've been cancelled. I think regardless of what you did or what you said, really, it's this absolutely shameful cancellation of one of our beloved MPs.
Well, thank you.
When will it end?
I don't know. I mean, listen to this. That is the sound of me having been silenced by the left, by the right, by the middle, by the high, and by the low, because they can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Isn't it sad, producer Martin, that Andrew's come on the show and yet he's already censoring himself?
Yes, I can't even say what I want to say about you, producer Martin, particularly.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you have strong feelings about me?
I mean, it's only one syllable.
Andrew, I feel like we may have gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole with your feelings towards me. I think what a lot of people would like to hear about is your feelings about vaccines, and you're comparing them to the Holocaust.
Yes, I mean, I said that the vaccines are the biggest crime since the Holocaust, which is only a bad thing if you assume that I think the Holocaust was a big crime or a bad thing. And that's a big assumption on your part, because many members of my party don't seem that bothered by the Holocaust at all.
Right.
That's a good point.
Well,
That's a good point.
never assume, I suppose. That's the thing.
You know what they say about assumptions? You know, assumptions are shit.
That's very true also.
Yes.
But Andrew, you've been sort of talking about this for some time now, haven't you? You've been sort of talking to, I think, journalists, tweeting about your views.
Yes, silenced.
And saying you've got it from all sorts of sources.
I did, yes. Well, I mean, I'm doing this to raise awareness, particularly to raise awareness of Andrew Bridgen. But I've heard this from all sorts of sources. There was one at MI5, there was one at MI6, there's one at MI7,
really?
and one from MI8.
Yes.
All I need now is MI9. That's all the MIs to have told me. Unless they've got more secret MIs they haven't told me about.
Wow. But how amazing that this sounds like I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No.
But it sounds like you're being told all these things from all these Emmys.
Yes.
And yet that the media are silencing you. I mean, it's extraordinary when you think about it.
No one reports on it. No one says these things apart from Neil Oliver on GB News, most of Talk TV, Talk Radio, Sky News and Fox. No one's talking about it. And the Telegraph and the Times, obviously.
No one's talking about it.
And the Mail and the Express.
It's almost like, I mean, you are being silenced by the media. They're persecuting you.
They can't bear to hear anything.
They just silence people like you.
Once again, I mean, I probably should just flag up that we are currently on the air, so that, I mean, this is probably quite literally the opposite of being silenced.
But interestingly, Martin, when you said that, we had to stop talking. So you were literally silencing us to tell us that.
Right, so dialogue, in a way, is oppressive because it's not giving you
it's 50% silence.
Just
See,
say
Martin, now you're getting the idea of it.
Okay.
Yes. Martin, really, you're kind of the silencer on this programme. I've been, actually, Andrew, I've been thinking that for some time now, that Martin is the kind of censorous force of non-censored.
I agree. And I think the problem is that when the left demand a voice, they are, by definition, semi-silencing the rest of us by expecting us to listen to them.
Yes, it's so true. It is so true. Every time producer Martin opens his mouth, I'm going, I've been silenced again. Great. I'll just listen to what he has to say.
Well,
it's usually rubbish. No, I don't agree with a lot of what you're saying, but then I haven't done any research, so it's kind of hard for me really to disprove anything you're saying at all. And to me, it's fascinating that you've heard this from so many different sources.
Yes, I mean, I've heard a lot from a lot of different people, a lot of different MPs, some of whom go to different parliaments, all of this information. And the thing is, we all have to do our own research, don't we? Because we're all given this information by scientists, and, you know, who do they do research? Who knows? We don't know. There's no way of knowing.
That's true.
I think that's part of their job. Research is probably quite an important part of their job.
You would say that.
I mean,
that
it's
sounds
just
to me again like the silencing left.
Yeah,
well, no, it's just part of
in mid-flow.
It's the job description, isn't it? It's just what they do, I think. But yes, I mean, it is impressive when you can say that you've had sources, you know, especially unverified ones.
They've been verified. I verified them. I asked them to hold up a copy of today's newspaper when they talked to me on Zoom and their ID. So I know who they are.
There you go. There you go. You can't argue with that, Martin.
No. I mean, some of them didn't have ID, but they held up other, like, mugs with their name on.
Yeah. Now, one thing you said was that you've been reliably informed that the government knew the pandemic was coming 6 months before it happened.
Yes.
That was when Boris... So that's quite a big claim. So Boris Johnson knew about the pandemic.
Yes.
Did nothing.
Yeah. No, deliberately caught it early on because, again, forgetful man. Lots of drink involved. Yes. But lovely.
Wow.
A great character.
I mean, that's good time Boris for you, isn't it? He's just a cheeky chappy.
You can't blame him for 200,000 dead.
No, he was just having little drinks.
This does feel like a rather large exclusive that Boris Johnson knew about the pandemic 6 months before it happened.
Boris Johnson knows about loads of things that he doesn't act on at all. He's a lazy drunkard who we all love. He probably doesn't even remember the next morning when you tell him, by the way, Boris, the Chinese are planning to attack in the morning. He won't do anything about it.
This
bless him. I miss him.
Feels like
me too. I miss him.
Might win us a Pulitzer, actually, but I mean, we'll see how that goes.
I mean, something has to.
That would be lovely. Well, and I think that's a good note to end this absolutely wonderful interview. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, thank you for having me.
You've taught us so much, and I'm so sorry that you've been cancelled by everyone.
Me too. I couldn't be more silent.
Now, I don't know about you, Martin, but I am fed up of hearing from Prince Harry. Moan, moan, moan. Spare us. I don't want to hear any more about it. Bored.
Well, I mean, if that's how you really feel, we don't actually have to include anything to do with the new book of Prince Harry's. We could talk about lots of other things. I mean, there's the ongoing war in Ukraine. I think we could do a deep dive into, the developments there.
No, Martin. No. I want to talk about how everyone is talking about Prince Harry. So, of course, we got on royal correspondent Nicola Witchell to talk about his new book, Spare. If you want to hear the full 2-hour interview, you'll have to download the Non-Censored Player app. But here's a taste of what you missed. Nicola, how wonderful to have you back on the show.
Oh, Harriet, thank you. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here.
Now, you're here to talk about Prince Harry's book, Spare.
Yes.
Please.
Much to my chagrin.
Enlighten us.
Yes. The Crown Prince of only wanting privacy on his terms, which none of the rest of us want privacy on our terms, do we? They only want privacy on their terms, does Crown Prince Harry of Sussex, yes, and he's come out and written a book, something that would have devastated Diana.
That's the thing, Nicola, isn't it? I mean, you just think Diana would be turning in her grave at this. Absolutely turning in her grave.
A woman who showed nothing but respect and reverence to the royal family for her entire time within it would have been just disgusted at the sassing off that's been happening with the Sussex couple.
And a woman who understood the importance of privacy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. She didn't want privacy only on her terms, did she?
No.
Right till the end, she didn't.
I've got to say, just one man's opinion, but it seems that perhaps his mother, Diana, would have maybe encouraged him expressing his feelings. I know she was very pro books in general and literature. It's hard to say how anyone would have responded in this particular
Martin,
circumstance.
I just feel that you've been watching too many Diana films. Nicola loves Diana films. He's watched them all. What was your favourite one, Martin? Was it
my favourite Diana film? It was probably Diana.
Yes, there we go.
Just go with the
Well,
original.
I have to say, I don't know why we're bringing this up. This is a woman who never asked for privacy, and now look at what her son is doing to her dislike of privacy. He's asking for it. Well, I say no.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, he talks about privacy, but then he's sort of gallivanting around promoting a book. Hello?
Yes.
If you want privacy, go and live in Scotland. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Which is what his grandmother did in the end.
Yes.
Her Majesty Elizabeth II, the Queen.
Oh, R.I.P. Oh, we miss you, Lizzie, every day.
Yes, R.I.P.
Every
Taken
day.
too soon because of them as well. It was in the autopsy. They cut her open and outspilled the words, Meghan done it.
Do you think the Queen would have read it?
No, she had too much dignity. She would not have read it. She would have perhaps done something akin to an ostrich, buried her head in the sand, the only dignified response to this.
Which would also be quite impressive for a 97-year-old woman to achieve, I think. Nicola,
she could do anything.
Well, yes. Yeah, no, she's a very, very talented woman, definitely. I do have one question, which is... do you not feel that perhaps the timing of the release of the book was in some way influenced by the passing of the Queen and the fact that out of respect he may have sort of held back from letting this out until she had passed so he could really, release his truth?
Perhaps. I believe that this is probably one of the only battles within his marriage that he won, because Meghan the Sussex would have wanted it out as soon as possible. She'd have wanted it all out there. She'd have been chanting behind the scenes in her American accent, "Do it now! Do it now! Release it now!"
I mean, so Nicola, what I think's funny is how many people queued in Waterstones Piccadilly for the book. One lady, one sad little lady. Not
We
even
all
a queue,
saw
is
it.
It's just a person standing.
It's just a lady, one lady. And the fact is, it shows that no one's interested in a book. And this would normally be the first occasion that there would be queues at the beginning of January when it's raining. That's when you'd expect there to be queues.
Exactly. What an embarrassment, Harry. What an embarrassment.
I feel I should flag up the fact that there's been around 400,000 copies already sold. That was on pre-order mainly because we are in 2023 where mainly people buy their books online, I think.
I mean, the thing is, Martin, everyone buys things by accident online. I bought a blow-up swimming pool by mistake the other day. You never know.
Yeah, it could be.
I buy things and I can't remember buying them because I am off my head.
That's the thing, isn't it? You get the sherry out, you have a final time, before you know it, you've bought a whole room full of things.
First the sobbing, then the buying.
Okay. Yeah. People around the country buying Harry's book Spare because they were probably trying to get a spare tyre. That's probably what was happening.
Yes, because people are busy.
It's possible, but that many mistakes would actually, in any given year, put his book into probably the top 10 best-selling books of the year.
All right, Martin. I don't need all this clever look at my
just
facts
looking
that
at
I've
facts,
just Googled.
It's
not. I mean, this is not
numbers.
the place for it. I mean, really.
Don't believe everything you read.
Are you?
I should know better.
Exactly. I mean, where are you getting these numbers?
There's a lot of things said.
You're probably getting them off Harry. You're probably getting them off Harry's Twitter feed, aren't you? He's probably always tweeting his stupid things. The man who wants privacy, tweeting about how many book sales he's got.
He said that anyone can be a royal correspondent. All you have to do is relentlessly peddle anything the palace says. Well, that simply isn't true. Not anyone can be a royal correspondent. Meghan the Sussex couldn't.
Exactly. I'm sorry, Nicola, but you're clearly wonderful at your job. And the idea that anybody could do that, really, it's quite insulting.
I am qualified and paid.
Moving on, I do also want to talk about the damage Harry is doing to the royal family. I mean, Prince William is going to be King William one day. And it's incredibly disrespectful to talk about this so-called fight. That's going to do William a lot of damage. It just seems to me extraordinary.
Think of the damage you are doing, Harry, by spilling out there things that happened and were said. Just putting them out there. That was a private brawl between two men in their 30s. Yes. Why is he telling the world about it? That's damaging.
Exactly. Well, it was a private little punch, and that's where it should stay.
There is an argument that says perhaps William was in the wrong for punching his brother and that Harry was entitled to tell the truth about it. So maybe if they didn't want the bad thing to be talked about, he shouldn't have done the bad thing.
Sorry, Martin. Would Would you be happy, people knowing about the punches you've pulled in life? Would you be happy, people telling that?
I think if I don't really punch people, but if I did punch someone, I think I'd...
What's
it would
a liar?
be fairly understandable that they'd want to complain. What?
Well, you're obviously not a brother in your 30s because they all punch each other.
That's what they do. Boys will be boys. Well, 30-something boys will be 30-something boys.
Millennials punch.
Men by then.
Yes.
But we don't hear about it because they keep it private.
Exactly,
Are you
dignity.
talking about boxers? Have you got confused with boxers? Because they punch.
No,
but
Martin,
I think
brothers, not boxers, brothers.
Brothers.
Okay, fair enough.
Sometimes also, brothers, they kick other brothers on the shins.
And throw them on a dog bowl and tell the world, why not?
Basically, the first rule of Fight Brother Club is don't talk about Fight Brother Club.
Yes,
Well,
shut
I mean,
up
the
about
question
it.
is,
That's why it's a club.
did they know it was a club? Was Harry aware?
Well, obviously, Martin, you're not a member. Nicola Witchell, thank you.
Well, yes.
And next we had podcast friend Eshaan Akbar back in the studio.
Oh, yes, a new year, but still that same fire as ever.
Yes. Oh, yes. What a wonderful man. He had some very interesting things to say about Rishi Sunak and the NHS. Eshaan Akbar, happy 2023 to you.
Happy 2023 to you and all. How are you?
Oh, very good, thank you. A new dawn, a new day, a new year.
Indeed, a new dawn, a new day, and a new year indeed. But the same old moaning, whinging people, eh?
Oh, I know, always. I mean, that's what we do here. We expose the whinging people, and it's not stopping this year. That's what I'm here to tell you.
Absolutely. And I'm delighted to be back. Producer Martin, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I don't want to start on the wrong foot. I think we have more that connects us than divides us. But I would say that some people actually have quite legitimate concerns, and to call it whinging is probably belittling the whole situation. I mean,
Fine,
we
won't call it whinging. We'll just call it moaning, good. Shall we?
Well, it's the same, isn't it?
Moaning myrtles, the lot of them. But one thing that it doesn't change is Eshaan Akbar's hot and spicy takeaway of the week. And this is our first hot and spicy takeaway of 2023. Eshaan, what is it?
Well, you may have seen already, the moaners are very much out in force. Rishi Sunak, our esteemed Prime Minister, our billionaire Prime Minister, was quizzed as to whether or not he uses private healthcare services. And his reticence to answer the question led people to conclude that perhaps the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom doesn't use the National Health Service. And a lot of people thought, oh, this is a terrible thing. My hot and spicy takeaway is this. He's the Prime Minister. Why should he use NHS services? You don't want the Prime Minister queuing up for 8 hours to be seen by a triage nurse. It's ridiculous. If you want him to run the country, he needs to get access quickly. And the only way you get access quickly is in the private health service. And also, he's the Prime Minister. He shouldn't be calling up, Ashford Medical Centre at 8 a.m., being number 6 in the... He's the Prime Minister, for goodness sake.
So you think, Eshaan, that there are certain people who kind of deserve private healthcare?
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Whether you're Prime Minister, a CEO, someone who is worth a lot of money, is valuable to the country, you are a leader, you should not be waiting in the queue like the rest of us. Well, not
but
me.
Eshaan, do you not think that perhaps if you're in government, particularly the head of government, you should have a commitment to the National Health Service, that you should have an invested interest in improving it to show that you are one of the people. You are a spokesperson for the people.
You can commit to whatever you like. He can throw £10 billion a day or £350 million a week.
Well, that would be wonderful.
I don't mind.
Do you know what I'd say?
Using it.
The thing is, Eshaan, you talk about throwing money at the NHS. That's the problem. The NHS really is a millstone around all our necks. And I have two things to say about this. One, I don't understand the reticence. Just admit it. Just admit it, Rishi. Two, everyone should have private. Everyone should have private healthcare.
Well, do away with the NHS.
Yes, get rid of it. Doesn't work.
Well, I mean,
just load of moaning nurses, isn't it?
I hate to bring up facts and figures, but from an economic standpoint, the NHS does save the taxpayer a lot more money than it would cost if we were to have private healthcare in a similar system to the US.
That's true. I think
absolute rot,
what you've done there is just take us some statistics that back up your argument, and I don't think that's true at all.
That's exactly what you've done. You've just brought in some facts. Doesn't count.
There is no way that having a private healthcare system is more expensive than having an NHS. Because look, with a private healthcare system, with an NHS, you have to look after everybody. Rich, poor, left, right, doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, you get looked after by the NHS. On the private healthcare system, it's only the very rich and the people who agree with it. If you're one of these NHS numpties for whom the NHS can never be got rid of, then don't use a private healthcare system. Sorry, we've got a private healthcare system now. You can't make the appointment. See you later. Bye-bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Yes, and I think, look, everybody deserves the right to private healthcare if they can afford it. And, I always say, if you can't afford Jimmy Choo's, don't get Jimmy Choo. But
Absolutely.
If you can't afford to get ill, don't get ill.
Yes.
That's how it should work.
I think it's a bit more like borrowing. You see, you know how you don't always need to mow your lawn, but sometimes you might need to mow your lawn. You don't need a lawnmower for everyone on the street. You could just share one, and that would be a lot more cost effective.
You're talking about if I need someone to mow the lawn, as you well know, Martin, I give you a call and I go,
That's
Martin, it's getting out of control. Why have you not been round?
And
then you come round, you do a little moan, and you
for the next few weeks, your lawnmower stays in your shed, whereas it could be the more cost-effective approach would be to share the burden. What? Everyone would get nice, lovely, clean, healthy lawns, and it wouldn't cost so much.
Well, because they'd be sharing my lawnmower.
Everyone gets one lawnmower.
Yes, what's going on?
Well,
it doesn't seem... That's four lawnmower.
I don't want people sharing my lawnmower.
It's called sort of social enterprise.
Doing all that work being handled by so many people, one poor lawnmower. Think about the lawnmower.
You can get a much better
Absolutely
lawnmower.
Disgusting. No, I'm sorry. I don't want anyone touching my lawnmower apart from the people who mow my lawn.
Just leave the lawnmower alone because you just want your lawnmower.
I mean, it's actually a bit perverted, Martin, what you're implying. Everyone going in there, putting their dirty mitts on my lawnmower.
They could wear gloves. They might wear gardening gloves.
Just mowing different bushes.
Oh, gross. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's all the same ground, isn't it?
Mow your own bush.
This isn't an advert for Manscaped. I don't think they're sponsoring us anymore, Eshaan. I just think that universal healthcare, as a basis, it should be supported by the government. And what better way to support it?
Why?
Why? Well, because otherwise people will just become very ill and die and bring a different kind of financial burden on
universal.
society.
Health isn't universal, so how can we have universal healthcare? Like, I'm a far more virile man than you are. We have got different health
it's very
needs.
hard to prove that.
Oh, it's very easy. I think we can
It's not.
I mean, is there a way we can prove that? We could do something.
No, I don't think it's helpful. Why would
it be
we
a
do
good thing
that?
to have on the record, wouldn't it?
Why would it be useful to have on the record? Why do we know? How do you? Like, I have children. I've had sex.
But not very good children.
Okay. well, this is somewhat distracted from the point, which is that Rishi Sunak is thinking of establishing some kind of two-tier system by which the NHS is for poor people and is of low importance, whereas his private healthcare is the kind of thing that he can afford and therefore he feels should be encouraged.
Correct.
I
so
think
he should. Because he is the Prime Minister. He's a global world leader. You don't expect global world leaders to queue up with everybody else. He should have his own private healthcare system. Similar with CEOs and YouTube influencers, people who make real concrete difference to British economy. They are important.
I just think it should be anyone who's got the money. Everyone, and I mean, at the moment, the NHS is just full of sort of moaning nurses who have coffee breaks.
I think there should be a minimum wealth requirement to access healthcare services in the UK.
Yes. Okay. Yes. No, I do agree with that.
But I mean, there would be a lot of sickly and ultimately dead people then lying
Martin,
on our
they
streets.
can go and live in a cave. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I've been an advocate for a long time now for bringing back, cave people, people that you can't see that live underground.
And also, here's the other thing that people don't seem to have forgotten about this argument, is rich people powerful people have different health needs to poor people. Powerful people have things like gout.
That's very true.
I mean, there's poor people that get gout too.
No, I mean, from what?
No, I don't think so, Martin. I don't think. I think gout is almost like a badge of. It's kind of like a badge of honour, actually.
Well, yeah, badge of power.
Ways. Yeah, badge of power.
What's a good poor people disease? Flu.
What, influenza? It's one of the most popular viruses out there. People love it. They're always getting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
I feel like powerful people don't have time for influenza. They're too busy influencing.
That
was very good.
That's not it. I don't.
Do you know what? The good thing about that one, Eshaan, was it took me a moment, and that's what all good jokes do. Is Absolutely. You don't get them straight away, but you think about them and you go, "Oh,
a genius."
Wow. Really brilliant. Really makes you think. Oh, great. Well, I think with that joke, Eshaan wins the debate. So well done, Eshaan.
Thank you very much.
How is that? That's not how debates work. Was that even a
yes,
joke?
It is.
I think it
yes,
is.
It is, Producer Martin.
I think it is.
If you can't make your case entertainingly, then you haven't made a case.
No.
Right. Okay.
Well done, Eshaan.
Thank you.
Better luck next time, Producer Martin. And that was the show. Bit of a brilliant show back, wasn't it, Martin?
Well, it's nice to be back in the seat, getting those words out into the airwaves and connecting with the people.
Yes. And talking of connecting with the people, don't forget that you can email us at noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. Anything you like, questions, thoughts, we want to hear from you.
And as ever, don't forget to give us 5 stars and why not leave a nice festive review. Tell us what you've been up to. I mean, it's not really what the review comment section is for, but I, for one, would like to hear it.
With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Suze Kempner, Nat Tapley and Ed Morrish. My name's Harriet Langley-Swindon and that was Non-Censored.